What if we tried to rob everyone and everything in Red Dead Redemption 2? How many robberies can we commit before the game says enough? That's what we're gonna find out in this video. Welcome to another episode of What If. Today, we choose violence. We're robbing the map blind, piling up bounties, and seeing if the world itself will shut us out for the chaos we unleash. Rules. Everything that can be stolen is stolen. Carts, NPCs, shops, banks. We cannot pay bounties. We cannot use fast travel and run away whenever possible. No reloads to save mistakes. With the rules established, this leads us to Chapter 1, the innocent beginning. As I descended the valley, our first victim appeared.
You hold it there. You hear me?
Who covers their face?
Empty your pockets. Now, tough guy.
You want him? Help me!
The poor fellow was screaming and banging his head against the rocks. Unfortunately for him,
Stay right there.
the day was about to end badly. I simply wanted to rob him.
Just isn't your day, is it?
There was no need for so much noise.
I know this ain't fun, but guess that's life.
I decided to take him further down the road to try and avoid being seen by anyone. And suddenly, another guy appeared.
Hey, why aren't you showing your face?
I thought quickly and decided to leave the scene of the robbery, hoping he wouldn't report the crime. And the guy started following me and shooting, once managing to break free. Obviously, I had to deal with him. I brought him to a more secluded place and took action. With no intention of stopping, I searched for another victim, ready to take whatever was left in their pockets. Another person approached, and I took the opportunity to ease their wallets. I decided to camp and wait until dawn so we could have better visibility and more movement. After a long journey to the outskirts of Saint Denis, we arrived at the swamp, and I found yet another poor citizen about to be mugged. This robbery was clean, without witnesses and without much noise. I couldn't leave any witnesses, so I went back to him and made sure he kept quiet. Who knows if, after being freed, he wouldn't go to the police station. I was in the middle of planning my next move when suddenly someone called me over, and a strange conversation began. I don't know why I simply didn't go on my way. I presume it was curiosity.
You must be real lonely out here, friend. What you doing here? You looking for a friend? I'll be your friend. If you let me. Folks don't normally want to be my friend.
Even without knowing what to say, I tried to be friendly anyway, even though the conversation was awkward.
Okay.
And suddenly, the sky turned very dark, as if to add to the bizarre atmosphere that was already there. Call me stupid, but I went into a stranger's house,
Come here.
even though my intuition told me not to, and as expected, the strange guy knocked me out.
Oh, you struggled and you lost. But it was quite a tussle, I tell you. Quite a tussle, my pet. See? Friendship ain't so tough. And neither is you.
And while somewhat shaken, Arthur remembers flashes of an even more bizarre conversation.
Oh, my Lord.
Which makes you wonder what the guy was doing to us. When we woke up, visibly shaken, we tried to understand what had happened. At least for Arthur, I had perfectly understood what had happened. Unable to leave the situation as it was, I went to confront the disturbed predator.
I don't want you no more. Wait, don't be pointing that at me. Stay. Why is folks so mean? Stay away from me.
I had to avenge this vile act, and without killing him immediately, because that would be a present for him, I decided to feed the poor crocodiles, who, with this temperature and the advance of civilization, probably don't have much food on their menu. But on the way to the river to feed the crocodiles, I noticed this absurdly small church, which made me wonder who frequented it. Finally, since it wasn't necessary to go all the way to the riverbank, I found this alligator, because yes, it's an alligator and not a crocodile, and I decided to leave this food at its feet so we could observe what would happen. I was disappointed with the result. I thought the alligator would tear it to pieces, but it only gave it a small bite, and he died, but he paid the price. After a trip to Rhodes, I decided to take things to the next level, robbing a store. This would make things more complicated, knowing that the law would now be after us. I decided to rob the gun shop. Of all the worst choices I could have made, this was the one I chose. Hoping that the owner wouldn't shoot me in the head, I went ahead with my first store robbery.
Give me all your money. Open that thing. Okay, then.
Who do you think you are?
Time to get to work.
We finally escaped Rhodes with some money in our pockets, and with a bounty that started to grow. I decided to go back to see if there would be any confrontation soon after escaping a robbery. For a moment,
Keep your asses back to work.
I thought there was going to be a confrontation, but they weren't talking to me. Whew. So I went to a remote part of Rhodes to fill my pockets a little more by robbing the poor. Shamelessly. I stumbled upon drunk people lying on the ground, free in their own way. Far happier than we fugitives ever were. It's kind of sad. So I started to mug a poor woman.
Hey, I put that barking on her way.
Wasn't gonna rob you, ma'am. Everything you got.
Who had bigger balls than many men sitting here, and the people around started to get angry, which I understand. Once I had her money in my pocket, I decided to leave that alley. Unfortunately, people decided to report the crime, which didn't make the situation any easier. I tied up the woman, but there was still an individual who was in the direction of the sheriff. Knowing that my robbery was being reported, I simply killed the woman. And I disappeared from Rhodes, trying to remain invisible for a while. And that brings us to Chapter 2, The Climb. I thought to myself, we're fugitives and criminals, and our earnings haven't been very good so far. We need to scale up the scheme and steal bigger. That's why I chose a train robbery, something that's never easy. The plan was simple but smart. Get on at Riggs Station, take control on the bridge ahead, and trap the law behind us. That would buy us enough time to loot every passenger and make our escape aboard the train. Now that the plan is well thought out, let's take action and make some money. In this case, steal money. Mask on my face, I'm ready to surprise the passengers. Once the train is moving, it's time for us to get on board. I wanted to be discreet, but visibly it didn't take long for the shooting to begin. I went to the front of the train so that we could bring it to a stop on the bridge. Once this train is safely on the bridge, we can safely begin our heist. One by one, I robbed all the passengers and continued without needing to kill anyone. That's what sets this apart from other robberies.
I don't understand. Stop it!
Once the passengers had empty pockets, I drove the train for a while to see if I could get away from the law. Which didn't work, because they came after me on horseback, seeking justice. As soon as I saw a man with a horse, I stopped the train immediately, hoping to escape the law. The man panicked when he heard the guards approaching, which caused him to run me over with his horse, leaving me no choice but to face the law, Rambo style. Giving them no time to think, I annihilated them one by one, without them harming me. I grabbed a horse that had just run away during the shootout and climbed to a certain height to escape the law. And at that moment, I realized I was safe and could continue our journey. Next step, steal an oil wagon from the Heartland oil fields. The place was heavily guarded, so infiltration had to be clean and precise. Once I got the wagon out, losing the guards immediately was the only way this plan would succeed. I entered the property and tried to discreetly eliminate a guard, which didn't go very well. And then I tried to escape with the wagon through the nearest exit, but I didn't take into account the possibility of them shooting at my wagon and blowing it up. So once again, I returned. This time, I tried the brutal way. The way we all like in Red Dead Redemption. When I realized it, it was too late. The wagon wasn't there. And I had just committed several murders, unnecessarily. When night fell, I came back, determined to finish the job. I checked for night guards. The path was clear. From behind a crate, I saw one problem, a guard positioned directly in front of the wagon. I took him out silently, stole the wagon, and moved out of the property, praying the rest wouldn't catch on. As soon as I left the property, I encountered a guard in the middle of the road, which made me panic and unintentionally jump out of the wagon, which left me no choice but to kill him.
And as if that wasn't enough, the wagon's horses got scared and ran off with our merchandise. I returned to retrieve my horse so I could go after the merchandise that had escaped.
The trip to the Emerald Ranch was uneventful, and in the end, we managed to increase our earnings a little more.
Don't spend it all at once.
After a trip to Saint Denis, I had in mind to rob a store. The only problem is that here there are people everywhere. This makes it a little difficult to escape. And also, with so many guards, the city is well protected. After hours of non-stop action,
Okay, room is all set. Just head upstairs when you're ready.
I headed to the saloon to rent a room and lay low for the night. The store I planned to rob was closed anyway, so resting and waiting was part of the plan. I started the robbery, and at the moment, everything was going according to plan. Once the store owner was neutralized, after a brief escape attempt,
I went towards the checkout counter, and out of nowhere, a customer came in who understood what had happened and reported the robbery to the law. I started taking the money, and by the time we tried to escape, it was too late. The police were already at the door of the establishment, and the confrontation between criminal and police began. The moment I left the store, the real challenge began. Escaping the city's guards. I jumped on my horse and bolted. The streets were empty. Citizens had locked themselves inside. Then, after a sharp turn, everything went wrong. A ridiculous fall sent me straight into a confrontation with the law closing in. After eliminating those guards, I went through a narrow passage to take refuge from the danger. With no way out and no other option, I had to retrace my steps, trying to get out of there, but the law was already drawing near. I pushed my luck against the guards and paid for it with my life. After coming back from the dead, I headed straight to the city doctor to stock up on miracle tonics and recover fast. This time, my target wasn't the clothing store, it was the gun shop. And unlike before, I wouldn't linger. The plan was simple: strike fast and escape even faster. Once I had acquired my tonics, I headed towards our next assault. Once there, the procedure was the same, as if I were already getting used to the kind of life I had chosen. As expected, the owner defended his belongings. Once he was neutralized, I proceeded to withdraw the money. It wasn't long before the police arrived, and I had to exchange gunfire with them. Not forgetting that the main thing was to get out of there alive and as quickly as possible. Once in the swamp, outside the city, we were safe, with some more money in our pockets. Back in Rhodes, I decided it was time to level up and aim for something bigger and far more dangerous: the town bank. Inside, the sheriff was calmly smoking his cigarette. I had to interrupt his break and end it permanently. Since it was my first bank robbery, I didn't even know if a real payout was possible. At the moment the first shots rang out, the law knew I was in town. I tried reaching the back of the vault area, but the door wouldn't budge. When I turned around, the guards were already flooding into the bank, ready to drag the criminal out. Disappointed and out of options, I fought my way out, just trying not to die. With the path briefly clear, I circled behind the bank, hoping for a secret entrance, only to find nothing at all. After escaping, I returned to St. Denis. Surprisingly, the law didn't even question me about the robberies from earlier. Somehow, the city I terrorized hours ago welcomed me back. With Rhodes behind me, I set my sights on the St. Denis Bank. When I arrived, it was already closed. So once again, I laid low at the saloon, rented a room, and rested after the long journey. The next morning, I stepped outside and mentally prepared for what was coming. At the bank, I tried blending in like a normal customer, quietly sneaking toward the restricted areas, unsuccessfully. When subtlety failed, I switched to a method that was never going to end well. tied up a guard as discreetly as possible, but that illusion lasted about a minute.
Only everything
Ain't
you
no
got.
need for that.
Quick. Too damn close.
He's here. Shoot to kill.
From train robberies planned down to the smallest detail, to risky infiltrations in heavily guarded oil fields, every move led us here. Cities emptied, guards closed in, and mistakes were paid for with blood. But failure didn't stop me. It only changed the plan. From Rhodes to St. Denis, I tested the limits of the law, blending in when I could, forcing my way through when I couldn't. This wasn't just about money. It was about survival, strategy, and seeing what happens when you terrorize the Wild West and dare to come back like nothing ever happened. I loved making this episode. The fails, the last-minute escapes, and ultimately killing so many guards only to fail to acquire money from banks. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you next time.